I don't know how you're defining the craziness of today, but today has been crazy already for me, and I hope it is as crazy for me as it is for you. This is Astro Monday, and we're going to be talking to my sensei, Serious Joy, Chris Witecki, talking about what's actually going on this week in the astrology, why things feel so weird, and what to do about it. Chris and I had a meeting with a group of people yesterday, and he gave me a very strong has been over the top, this one event after the other. Hey, sweet darling. Yeah, it's crazy today. Tell us what's going on for you in the comments. Put down what's going on for you today. Hey, Chris.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Crazy?
Yeah,
I mean, are
I'm
you
feeling
having
it.
it? Do you feel it?
Well, I
In a
feel a
good way.
huge difference from yesterday. I feel so much better than I did in Aquarius. Aquarius was, I think, a little, what's the word? Electric. It was a little edgy. I was sort of on edge the whole transit. Excited, but now that we're in Pisces, I feel so much more grounded and excited again.
Yeah,
What do you
I
feel?
feel grounded and excited. I feel grounded and excited. And, oh, hi, sweetie. Cynthia there.
Hi,
I feel
Cynthia.
grounded and excited, but I was, a couple of things hit me from our meeting yesterday.
Okay.
One thing was, what does a changing timeline feel like?
Aha.
And I
Right.
want to talk that out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was I asked what to look for this week, and you said basically everything's past life.
Mm-hmm.
So I have
Everything
had,
is.
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
I had this crazy series of past life situations, including a dream about a family member. That one that would normally make me go, I gotta call and say something about this. Like it's that intense.
Oh.
And yeah, because I don't get dreams. I'm not a big dreamer, and when I do dream, it's very profound. And then I was contemplating. It's about my brother-in-law. Do I call my sister? Do I say? Should I say? And then we go to the beach for morning maneuvers, and Ikwe from Vancouver, she comes up to me and she goes, "I had this dream about my father, and and it was an inappropriate sexual dream, and I just said, because my history is, I was sexually abused as a child, so I'm like, maybe just lean into that a little bit more, feel it out. And I went off through my maneuvers, and I hear you in my mind saying everything's past life, and I'm like, whoa. I go back and I'm like, hey, maybe it's a past life. Don't call your father yet. Don't circle the wagons. Maybe it's a past life. Put that into consideration, because I ultimately always feel not yeah, I feel responsible to say things to people the right way, and if I don't, correct it. But then throughout the course of the day, I did my live, and it was like I was talking to a 40-year-old version of me and a girl, same situation, same
Mm,
story in her life, fighting the medical system, all that stuff.
wow.
Sagittarius, same, like very very similar astrology,
Hmm.
and and but not 29 degree, but even physically look same kind of structures and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then the next one came on, and it was like you could tell it was definitely related to me. Then Cynthia's same astrology as Cynthia's daughter came on, exactly. And
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, okay. And then every single person had a significant, like super significant meaning, to the point where I'm going to go back and rewatch it.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. So you're literally manifesting literal mirrors of your life so you can sort of adjust your perspective in the mirror of your own life. That's how I would interpret that.
Yeah, but we also have all of our coaches and facilitators here right now, so they're all going through a similar thing. And one of the things that you said to me, well, actually, for everybody, tell me what a past life, or sorry, a timeline. Tell me what a timeline shift feels like. You gave me an example tomorrow or yesterday resonated.
So a timeline shift is when your whole life changes in a fraction of a second, usually triggered by an event or a realization. And the example I gave yesterday, you have a negative example, I have a positive example, and that's not judging you. You always like find out your father died, then find out your father didn't die. Like, which is a good example. But my example is you wake up in debt, you can't pay the rent, and then you find out you won $1 million. So you just get a phone call that you won $1 million, and how your entire life changes just from one phone call. Nothing actually changes. You haven't gotten a check. You haven't started to spend the money. Nothing like that changes, but your entire life changes. Not so much even like, wow, I can pay all my bills, but like, oh my God, I can live the life I've always wanted to live. Oh my God, my future is completely different. I'm going to forget this person. I'm going to marry someone hot. I'm rich now. like people like everything changes from one moment, one shift of your perspective, and your entire everywhere you come from, everywhere you're going. And it's funny because that would forgive everything you've been. It's like, well, it's fine that I was, had a hard childhood. It's fine. It's like because it turned out good. So it's like it forgives the past. It rewrites the future. It changes the present, and that's a timeline change.
So
No,
the reason I gave the, well, you could say negative if you believe there's a negative and a positive in that way,
right? Yeah,
but the reason I gave the experience of someone passing away, like if someone passed away and I told you, your body goes into shock. Everybody has had
yeah,
that happen. So they
right.
feel the visceral change in their
Yeah,
body. If I win a lottery, the shock is good, but they mix it up with the event.
that's true.
If your body goes into shock. So in other words, if I told you your father died, you believe me, literally, your digestion stops, your processing, all the blood retracts from the limbs to
Yeah,
the core, your brain stops thinking, adrenaline, norepinephrine, cortisol
yeah,
go. Your body stops processing and adapting to the environment to manage the stress of that shock. And then if I tell
yeah.
you 5 minutes later, oh, that's not true, and you believe me, your body comes out of shock. So that means that the mere perception is what shifted. And what you said to me yesterday that got me a new way, because I've heard you say before, was my perception shifted my timeline. So,
Yes.
so I had a situation today where I was emotionally charged. I go in, and then it's like before I go into the situation, because I know I'm charged, I do a couple fascial maneuvers. I come down dramatically. Okay, I relooked at the situation. I read something different that I looked at. So so in other words, I got a message, I read it, I thought one thing, I was ready to go charge. I calmed myself down quickly with fashion maneuver, reread it before I made a decision and looked at it, and it said something different. Now, whether it said something different or not doesn't really matter. What
Oh,
I saw
wow.
was, and and this is what I was saying to you yesterday. That means that what we do with fascial maneuvers or fascia is what we do is take the body out of stress, we see options. If the body's in stress, I don't see options. So basically, when I take my body out of stress dramatically in a situation that's marketably significant, will change something,
Yes.
then I'm actually shifting a timeline.
Yes, you are. Precisely. We do this a lot with like text messages is another example of
Yeah.
this, where
Yeah.
it's like, I just found out that I'm not going to be able to make it to the concert. And then you get it back, it's okay. And it's like, what do you fucking mean it's okay? I've been working for this for what? Like, so you like project all this stuff, and like, if you heard them on the phone, they're like, it's okay. Like, that was what they actually said. But you're like, it's okay. Like, so it's
Yeah.
like, we come at it, we have our interpretation, we already have a timeline and a perspective that we are forcing all evidence into all the time.
Yes.
Like we are reading every message according to that perspective. And you're right. I think having your body charged with having your body charged and everything, your hair raising up because you're on defense from something that happened to you in the past. If you can approach whatever it is in life neutrally, then you're in the freedom to choose your timeline. If you don't approach it neutrally, then you are forcing the old timeline to continue.
So when I force an old timeline to continue, I get angry. Then that causes wear and tear on my body. Ages my body,
Yeah.
causes disease. My body's not at ease. And then I attract more disease things. And so this is what I was saying. Well, my free will, what I was trying to articulate yesterday was that every time you have an emotional array, like that same firing of emotions, chemicals in your body produces sadness and joy. That's why you cry when you're sad, cry when you're joy. Or anxiety, excitement, it's the same thing. So if I'm feeling, if I have this, sometimes people go, I'm anxious, but no, I'm excited, or I'm fearful. No, actually, it's confidence building. On sadness, I'm sad. No, actually, it's joy because I'm crying. So some of them are obvious, but when I make the decision, because when that hormone hits, my perception allows me to make a decision to pick a path. That's if
Mm-hmm.
pick a path timeline. Because one is I go and beat somebody up that causes serious problems. The other one's over here. So by doing my process over the last, since I discovered fascial maneuvers, was to choose the path as much as possible. Even in conversations when we get heated, we had one in our staff meeting today, and I'm like two times we're like, okay, let's sync up. So I chose to, instead of continuing down the journey of that energy, I chose to reset it so I could see another option and reset it again in the same meeting within 45 minutes. Because, and that's where I believe is the transition. Part of this journey that I'm going to be sharing with people is how did I make this physiological change in my body? Well, it wasn't just my body, it was shifting timelines, but I was consciously
Mm-hmm.
doing it. I made the choice with my free will to make a different decision, but I didn't have the free will until I got the stress out of my body, which took at that time a fascial maneuver.
That's a brilliant, and you know what that really is a boundary. So
Yeah.
you close off the old and you open up to the new. You're actually creating a conscious boundary, and that boundary is your ability to control and reset. So you're basically ending the old frequency inside of you and creating a neutral zero. You're going from 29 to zero when you do that, Gary.
Interesting, because yesterday I was at 29 and we went to zero, and my
Today we're at
gosh,
zero.
it's like happening with everybody here. Now I'm watching everybody shifting through these same things because they're all over the property and they're in different clusters, working at each other, doing lives, asking questions, and I'm watching people shift in real time. Now, I'm sure that this always happens, and because I'm aware of it now I'm just seeing everybody else go through it.
Yeah, and we've just uncovered the superpower of a Grandmaster Zero. That they have the power to approach everything in life neutrally. Yeah, you got it. You got it working. I'll do my thumbs up thing. One thumbs up. Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
so
Like
yeah,
little
yeah.
bubbles that happens.
And I guess that's for me. I've been at 29 all my life, which has been like literally like trudging through mud with a machine gun and grenades and shooting at targets.
Yeah.
So for me, I believe that's me crossing to my zero. So learning to be at the zero, because I believe that the mission that I'm on requires, is it the zero now, not the 29? The 29 was
I
still
believe.
fighting. I believe that it's already gone. Like if I stop the entire world, we have 20 million people around the world doing fascial maneuvers. It's growing like crazy. If I stop what I came here to do, what my agreement with God was to do, I believe is done. Now, the next part of that is how much of a wave do I ride? How fun is it?
Well, and I would say mastery over life or ascension is awareness between from 0 to
Yeah.
29. So when you command reality, you have to command 0 to 29. You have to command all the steps with your conscious will. So I think I've always been teaching that the mastery of 29 is zero. I haven't put it together like you just gave me, of like a literal life example of going from 29 to zero, because 29 is that, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Holy shit, the sky's falling. My God, oh, we got to do this. We got to invest now. We got to sell, sell, sell. Like the stock market is all a bunch of 29s. Like they're all buying and selling like crazy, right? But to manifest, you have to hold the space for what you want to create. So you have to have that zero to hold the space. So there are master creators, there are master leaders who are masters of zero. Anyone with their sun in the eighth house is a zero master by default, another way of becoming a zero. What they do is hold the space, the zero, they hold the neutrality for all the different ingredients to operate within that petri dish of energy.
Yeah.
That's the power of zero.
So you helped me understand shifting of timelines, which explains why I'm literally getting younger. And
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
I I
Mm.
helped you
I'm gonna try
redefine in a
that.
life situation the difference, the shop. So that's a shifting of a timeline. I can feel it in
Yes,
my
it is.
body. I get all tingly.
Yes. Now, Bashar, who I've been watching lately, who's a channeler, I guess he's been
Yeah,
around
I
for
know
years,
Bashar.
but I just discovered him. I just discovered him recently, so he's new to me. He says we switch timelines 1,000 times a day, small
That's my
ones.
point.
Yeah,
That's literally my point. But
yeah,
but we do it unconsciously.
right.
And now,
We don't
if I
realize
can
it.
take the big
It's a
ones, like if
mood
I'm going
shift.
down all these little streets, no problem. But if I come to a big exercise intersection, left or right, and I know it because I'm conscious of it, I can shift the timeline to the favorable one because the little ones they're going to happen all day
Yes,
long. But the left and right, it's not the curve here, curve there.
right. And you've experienced it. So if like someone's like, "Oh, Ted's called off sick again," that motherfucker, I'm gonna fire his ass. No, I can't fire his ass. HR. Never mind. I'm gonna take him out to lunch and tell me, "No, son of a bitch, I'm gonna tell him what I think." That was like three timelines that just went on, right? Like where you're like, "I'm gonna kill that MF." No, I'm not. I'm gonna go to HR. No, fuck them. They're inefficient. I'm gonna talk to them at lunch. So it's like each one is, and we're hopping between each of them, which each have a different destiny at that time. But you bring up the valid point here, which is like rather than react, right? Respond, I guess is the right word, right? I mean,
Right.
what's the
Yeah.
wisdom here?
And yeah, respond. And sometimes the response is no response. But when I'm
Yes.
charged, my brain only sees one option.
Yep.
That's that's
Right.
the that's the that's the biological input of using adrenaline, norepinephrine, cortisol. Somebody
Yeah.
said about doing yoga. When I stretch a muscle, by the way,
Yeah.
I'm actually firing stress hormones.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and then and then I calm down and then my body starts to calm down, but my body feels attacked when it's stretched. And this is why fascial maneuvers is not a stretch. It just calms the body down without the stretch. Because
Hmm.
as soon as adrenaline, norepinephrine, and cortisol enter your blood, it takes 4 hours to 6 hours for those chemicals to go away. So that's why like when you take MDMA or mushrooms, you see all the connections and options. But
Hmm.
when I do yoga or I do stretching, I get excited and I calm down. And then usually about 3, 4 hours later, I have some sort of perception shift. But this is what I love
Hmm.
about fascial
Hmm.
maneuvers because I can have that perception shift in 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or whatever, which I can't get from anything else that I've done.
Right. Without stretching yourself like Gumby.
Yeah, and I used to call me Twitch. I stretch so much.
Mm. Yeah. So really, yoga is just the first version of fascial maneuvers.
I
Maneuvers. It's
think
like,
I think yoga had. I mean, everything. Even like martial arts is a lot of the partner maneuvers came from martial arts.
yeah. Yeah.
Like if you can use a sword to kill something, you can use it to protect something.
Yeah.
And and I believe like jujitsu is a major way of moving the body through joints to break or to manipulate a joint into dysfunction. In other words, break them down. But if I can
Mm.
break them, I can heal them, and that's where part of the whole partner maneuver series was designed on. What if it was arts and somebody decided to marshal them?
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
means that
Interesting.
art could heal me. And that's why I do it even with UFC people. I say, well, put my arm in an arm bar. And they try to arm bar me, and I'm like, I just turn out a bit. Or they try to my shoulder, I just put my scapula. Or choke hold me, and I rotate my body. And you can't choke unless I'm resisting. And so I've been practicing this for a couple of years. We have a couple of UFC people come through, and I get them to do it to me.
Huh.
And because that's the whole point. So, in other words, if I didn't have the fear, that's the tight resistance of the muscle, and the anger and their fear fighting, if I took that out, then all of a sudden that becomes a very stern and aggressive therapy. Because I was saying, I put more force on a body when I've got a leg and I'm twisting it and I'm pushing into it than you would ever do it in a fighting situation. How
Mm.
come they're not breaking when I do that? That was the whole idea between fascial jiu-jitsu.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. I did Aikido when I was a kid. It's the same similar thing where, You
Oh,
stay
oh
flexible
yeah.
and limp. You stay flexible and limp, and you redirect their aggressive energy against them.
Keto is awesome. I watch Steven Seagal. I mean, he's got that weird painted hairdo and he's kind of heavy, but I watch him train people, and it literally is amazing. And
Yeah.
it's like people come at him with everything. He's like,
Yeah.
looks like he's not even moving.
Yeah, he's barely because all because you realize that this force in motion has its vulnerability. So all you have to do is sort of just like sway slightly and let their own force, hang themselves. Basically, is what happens there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
interesting this timeline shift. So I think we're doing some major timeline shifts. So we're doing a very. So I think there are layers of timelines. So if we want to get really deep in today's
yeah,
call,
let's do it.
you have these you have these like super timelines which I think many people subscribe to, and are very very deep because they're a long time coming. And then you have these more higher surface timelines that are more ancillary, like capillaries, that are really kind of there's a million ways to skin that same cat,
Yeah.
right? And so the deep truncated timelines, these are timelines where you're like, you know, 5 lifetimes in a row, you're like, one day I'll prove to you, one day I'll kill you, one day, like you have your soul has all these like moments as you're dying, I will be back, that feels just like this big, feels like this big truncated timeline where you've sworn to God many times in many lifetimes that this is your intention. And so I think we come down and we live out these truncated timelines. And in Pisces, we're about to switch trunks. So we're about to switch an entire, we've been on this whole victim trunk line, and we're now going to move on to the healed trunk line, for instance, a major shift in the next 40 days.
Yeah, and I think not. I think the stuff that's been coming up even around here in our community, because I know when do you remember the movie Interstellar?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
at one point there's books coming off the shelf in the room. They can't explain it, and then when he goes through the wormhole, he realizes our dimensional shift. He's the one pushing the books off the shelf.
Hmm.
So I know when I'm pushing books off the shelf. Like I have a couple times in my life that were significant. One was the time that I lost my tailbone, and then I knew at that point that that was a moment in time. That was right the day I discovered anti-gravity, which was the first standing fascial maneuver, the first movement of fascial maneuver. And on the weekend, on Saturday, um, I I had a whole bunch of things. On Friday night, I talked about it. I talked about what happened on the call yesterday. But I had a whole bunch of things that happened to me, and then all of a sudden, I'm sitting down and I'm having this conversation. I had this thing that creates shame in my life,
Mm.
yeah, and and it came once at night, and then it came again later on the night. I'm like, oh, it came twice, but I didn't feel the shame. It's,
Mm.
so I'm like that, but I didn't quite get it. I just noticed that something was different. And then I walked up and somebody goes, I got supposed to give you a hug. And that person says, you'll know who it's from. And I go, haha, that's my mom. No, I'm not playing that game. My mom used to do that to me. It's like, oh yeah, let's prove it. And
Mm.
I hated that. And then I'm like, and then I had to go back and apologize. Hey, sorry, that was my mom's energy coming out. This is what happened. Then I'm sitting down. My mom's a Leo, of course. Then I'm sitting down. There's like four Tauruses around me. And it took a second for me to realize. They're all talking to me. And then Danielle, at 29-degree Leo, comes and sticks the chair right in between, just wanders in. And I go, aha, my mom's trying to talk to me. Or I am through my mom, through that energy, through that representation, through the Leo, to follow my heart on what I believed. And that day, I altered the course of what we were going to do for all of these coaches. And we had massive healings with everybody. It was just, we were going to train something. And I said, no, I organized everybody into their chirons.
Mm. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I
From
said, go back to a time. Here's my Chiron. Here's one thing that I have. Well, I've always been wrong. Pisces, 28-degree Pisces. I've always been wrong. Did
Mhm.
things wrong. Been wrong for doing it, and then felt guilty and ashamed. And I said, here's mine. I told everybody, so I put the cards on the table. It's like one that everybody goes, oh, fuck, I'm glad that didn't happen to me. And then I put them all on their Chirons and I said, talk about one situation that you remember. And they did it. And it was like, now we get people puking and things going off and emotions going everywhere. It's just, and it's been in positive way because we're in a controlled environment and everybody knows what's going on. So we've have everybody going through this healing process. And that's what I call, again, shifting a timeline.
Mhm. I agree. And that's what we're doing in our 40-day program. I think is the same thing, but not as fast.
Well, but you're taking people. I have everybody here that's been studying step system and you and everything for a long time, and me,
Right.
and we're here in one spot, living together, eating together, working together. So it's contained.
Yeah.
But what I like about the 40-day program, like the 40 days of truth and purpose, and what's coming up starting today. If you haven't done it yet, go to Serious Joy, log in, go to go to Human Garage, go to our products page, go to our partners, go to Serious Joy, sign up for $4 for the first month. I guarantee you'll want it, but if you don't, you can cancel. And get into the 40 days of past lives. And because that 40 days of truth and purpose made a transition and a difference. What I like about this is that instead of everybody here studying. Somebody who knows nothing about it over the course of 40 days will have an idea why they're past lives and how they interact with them, which is affecting our today.
Yes. You don't realize it, but I mean, I actually part of my ego didn't want to believe this when I first started getting into past lives, but so much of who you are is the past.
Yeah.
Is the past. And you don't realize it when you understand where your past life triggers are. And we're doing the first 11 days, we're doing journaling of your childhood because your childhood is the recreation of your past life scenarios. So everyone goes like, I was given a bad childhood. I'm like, oh, you had a bad past life, huh? Because that's what it really was. It's the past life week. So we're going to journal through that. And when you realize, and then we're going to go through the aspects in your chart that point out to this. This is how I do readings. Basically, I'm sharing how I do past life readings. You start to realize, oh my God, I always thought I was a nerd for always being afraid of this, but now I realize it's a legitimate fear. It actually happened to me. I'm not a moron. I did die. I did go over a cliff. I did lose my wife. I was abandoned. This did, and so it really is so healing because you have all these irrational fears and anxieties and phobias, and your whole life is always about steering around these obstacles, steering around these hazards. So you're wasting a shitload of time and energy avoiding your past life from happening again. And once you realize, oh my God, this is a pattern. This is it's not going to happen again. It's actually the trauma. So you've been afraid it's going to happen again. Once you realize it's a past life, you're like, oh, it's not meant to happen again. It's only coming up because I'm still traumatized from the first time it happened. So right away, you're like, oh, yay, let's celebrate. I'm not going to die alone, or I'm not going to lose my wife, or I'm not going to have a child die. Thank God. So there's a relief there, like, holy shit, thank God. I was worried about that my whole life. And then the other is, oh my God, have I been wasting time and energy trying to avoid this thing that happened, this ghost of a past life that's destined to not happen because the destiny is not to live it again. The destiny is to kind of recreate a version of it in childhood that's abstract enough from the actual way that it brings up the feelings of what you had gone through, but not the literal of what you've gone through. So you will manifest a symbolic movie Hollywood version of the past life trauma for you to bring up all that trauma and release it. It's there to be released. It's not there to be indulged in.
So I'll go back to a very visceral one for me. I've told you this before. 28-degree Pisces. I obviously fought the system, the church, got crucified, went down for it. So
Yep.
in my whole life, my businesses, like my encryption business, was I was fighting the government, protecting the people,
You
loving it.
you were imprisoned. You weren't killed.
Yeah, okay. Was in prison. Well,
Just to be
so
clear.
yeah, probably for a lifetime.
It was a white
Um,
collar crime with the church. They weren't going to kill you. They were just going to keep you from doing anything ever
and
again.
so this in this lifetime, what showed up was when I was arrested for not turning over encryption codes to the U.S. government. I'd spent 17 months in solitary confinement, lots of time to think, and then I'm cuffed and shackled and black boxed and guards to go to meet my accusers after 17 months. There is no, by the way, there is no such thing as a true legal system, especially at the federal side in the United
Nope.
States. And
Nope.
and people are going to find that out soon. They're learning that right now,
I hope.
and and they will. And then I was in the prison transport van, and I had this memory of every time that a prison transport van drove by me in my life. I remember all the way back to 5 years old, all these events that came rushing in my head where I would be,
Yeah.
right down to
Yeah.
months before I was arrested. I was on the 405 down by Orange County, down by Spectrum, and I moved, and one came up beside me, and I moved over 4 lanes. I remember it. And I'm like, that was me having that feeling. And I had the feeling probably didn't alter a course in my life. I had chosen that lane, that lane, that lane a couple of times past that timeline, that timeline. So I ended up going to prison for a bit. And,
Hmm.
but it wasn't as bad. And it actually it helped me find who I really was.
Hmm.
So this time it was powerful.
Yeah. Well, I find that, it was only 17 months. In that lifetime, you died.
Yeah.
You died in prison. So it's an abbreviated version that's abstract enough. You weren't being prosecuted for your religion this time. You're being prosecuted for your beliefs about security. So you're still prosecuted for your beliefs,
Fairness.
right? You
Privacy,
believed
fairness,
you believe it was
equality.
inappropriate. Yeah. Back then, you probably believed that the Earth was round and they threw you in prison. This time, you believe that text messages should be kept private.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so so it's kind of simple. But the point is unless you were imprisoned for that 17 months, you would not have brought up the memories of the past life trauma. You had to
Correct.
recreate the past life trauma in a manageable
Yes.
form. And that's the opportunity to overcome that. And that stuff is stitched into our aura, from what I understand,
Yeah.
those traumas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and the aura itself. That's where I'm going to be revealing in from April onward for 12 months, is how the physical aura transmits to the body, how the body receives, how it gets to the body, comes into our conscious awareness, affects us in our life. Because that's the journey I've gone through to find the fashion maneuvers and then to transition my own body and life.
Mm. What's the title of your program?
Don't know yet, but some of the monikers are Move Younger, but which is, by the way, one of our trademarks.
Move
And
younger.
and then it's Master Your Fashion, Master Your Life, because in order to have a different view of the body, or you we have or sorry, different view of healthcare and wellness or performance and sickness, and we'll have to redefine the body, because I don't see the body. I see the body differently than anybody that I know anywhere in the world that I can talk to or see or view. And my
Hmm.
example, the way I see it, has a clear cut example to how to change it. Now, 20 million people in the world are doing it in over a couple of years, and it's working. So, I keep saying I'm perfectly open to the fact that this is just a story I created and it works, but it doesn't change the results that we're getting. So I'm just developing a new narrative, and it was redefining the human experience, because we were told that our experience is like we have an aura, but scientifically, technically, it's not true, because the highest state of awareness is this ball of energy around us. And we can see it on a thermography camera. We are light. We can actually see it. That's what thermography is. We can actually use equipment to get it. Dogs in nature actually sees the aura, but we only see the dense part in the middle, which we identify with, which is the stubby, lethargic human.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we have to. So I don't have an aura. There's an aura which is highly intelligent, which has this stubby, kind of stupid little human that is trying to get to do things, like a marionette, like Pinocchio. That's
Hmm.
some more.
The aura is controlling the material Is that what you're
Yeah, yeah.
suggesting?
The aura controls our movement. I can actually demonstrate it. I can
Hmm.
actually say because the brain itself can't control movement. Like, I mean, we don't go that here, but the brain does not move the body. Anybody who listens or been to our program, we put that in our 28-day reset, our life to artist program. We can
Hmm.
reproduce it scientifically. The brain does not move, and the muscle skeletal system does not move fast enough to even move the body out of the way of danger. But that's why when somebody goes in, like there's this one famous thing where the baseball's coming at this news reporter and the guy goes, whoosh, catches it and throws it out. And my whole thing is if the brain is what makes the body movement, then explain how that happens. You didn't even know it's
Hmm.
coming, you grab it. And we just go in sports, oh, that guy's good, man. That's just, he's in the flow. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you, he's in the flow, but you have to tell me have mechanics here. You have to tell me what mechanics demonstrates flow because we are in a computer.
Hmm.
And so this is what I'm going to break down over the course of the year because that's the foundation of fashion maneuvers.
I think the title of your book should be "Life's Fascinating."
I think that might be a good idea. Life's
Life's
fascinating.
fascinating.
I think
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
It's yours, buddy.
I
Pay
say
to
that
me,
more than
yeah.
anything, right?
I know you do because you'd own it and it's a word you'd own and like it would immediately bring people into this, huh? Like it would the approach into the material would be what's fascinating about it,
I like that. I like that.
right?
Never
Yeah.
you wrote that down. I never remember that.
Life's
Yeah, I know. I
fascinating.
really do. I like that, Chris. I like that because and by the way that I'm doing the book, instead of producing a book that just is me, mind comp, going down and doing that, I'm producing it over 12 parts of Zooms where I'm actually dictating it, and I have a group of people who are asking questions, feeding back, so it alters it. I'm co-collaborating the book with the community because I don't own the book. The book is owned by the movement, which I don't own anything in the movement to help the movement.
Yeah, I love that perspective. And I use the same method. We're twin brothers that way. The 40 days of past life and karma, which I'm not trying to plug, but it's like
No, plug
I
it.
from the feedback from the people, I will alter the program. I think that's what's actually the secret to my success in astrology. And I've said this to other astrologers. I have immediate feedback on my algorithms from people saying, yes, that resonated. No, that didn't. Making mad scientist tweaks, right? I don't have to
Right.
spend money on all like these scientific and also, if there's like a study, well, everyone's there in a study and everyone's trying to get the right answer. This is real field
Yeah.
science. I've got people in the field telling me this resonated, this didn't, it happened this way. And so from this co-creation, collective co-creation, the formulas become sharp. That's how my formula got so sharp.
Well, actually,
Was people
that's
giving me
how
their
we do it. Our
feedback.
programs too. That's the same thing. It's that we turned everybody out there. We said, look at when you have this in your body, tell us. So they share pictures, they share emotions about it, they share physical attributes. They talk about times they had it before. That's better than any
Mm.
scientific study. And we have hundreds of thousands of people reporting changes every day. You know what that means? It means that we have the largest study on human history, even larger than the Holocaust.
Oh wow, that's impressive. Wow, and yeah, it's a great movement. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. I'll just say that as far as how the authorities react to these types of
I
movements.
I see. This is one thing, Chris. You know my story. I mean, they were banks have been shutting me down, things that constantly, but I say stuff online every day that other people completely get turned off for. And I believe that because I no longer the fight is no longer there. That's what we were talking about as you were going through your journey. And when the fight's no longer there, guess what? No resistance. That fight relies upon the laws of nature because they're using the laws of astrology and nature to enforce these control mechanisms. So I'm using the same laws, and everything has been wind at the back, like to the point where for the last year, there's been a couple times I'm like, "Whoa, man, is that too good?" And I'm like, "No, no, it's good." Because I don't have that fear anymore. I'm not attracting it. And that's what you said in the aura. It's not in the aura.
Right. actually, you're referring to the old trunk timeline, Gary. What I'm speaking to is, will medical science change as a result of your program, not fight back?
Oh, I believe that there ain't medical science because the body heals itself, and when people feel that realizing the body heals itself, then why am I going to medical science? Because I've demonstrated. I took a scoliosis and transformed it 1 hour live. I took a Liz Frank break that you shouldn't be able to walk on for 9 months, and the guy's running in for 4 months and walking within a month. And I'm showing that the body does heal itself. So, and now
Right.
we have all these examples out there doing it. So I don't believe I just don't believe in practitioners. I believe that I can help you and you can help me. But as soon as I become a practitioner, I take your power away through authority. And there is no practitioner on the planet that can heal the human body. The body heals itself. And if I say I heal it, then I took away your power. If you agree to that, then you're powerless.
I agree with that assessment. Although I do feel that there'll be little Gary clones running around
Yeah, but those are helping
teaching.
other
Right.
people. That's the thing.
Right.
Like when I work with people, I don't work with Chris Witecki. I see me in you. And when you have a problem and you come to me, as long as you're helping yourself, I help you. Otherwise, I don't. If you're not helping yourself, I won't help
Right.
you.
Right.
And then when I'm helping you, I'm going and you're having a release, emotional or a physical one. I look on my body for the same thing. Okay, where do I need this? What do I need? That's the transition. Whereas in medicine, it's like separate. No, it's you. I'm fixing you. You have the
Right.
problem. You came to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that completely. And it's that timeline, that's a trunk timeline right there where it's like this idea that I'm sick and I need something outside of myself to heal me. That's a major trunk timeline.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Or
So
or that we are victim to reality instead of the creators of it.
you, we are. That was the whole thing, like, and I've used astrology and all that you've taught me over the last 12 years, happy anniversary.
Yeah.
And I've used astrology and everything you've taught me over 12 years to take responsibility for everything that shows up in my life. If someone bumps me on the street, I'm responsible. If somebody yells at me, I'm responsible. If I get ripped off, I'm responsible. If somebody hurts me, I'm responsible. If I fall on a rock or a rock falls on me, I'm responsible. And because now saying that and then putting it into practice is taking me years. But
Oh
because of,
yeah.
of you helping me understand astrology or understand astrology and look at it, and your step system is what did it. Because astrology was too much information. But your step system let me
Yeah.
condense an astrological principle into a second by looking at a number.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, brother. And you can get me to zero in 30 seconds.
So what do we? So this week coming up, okay, you gave some solid advice. So let's talk about what's happening this week.
So this week, what's happening is everyone's doing a deep dive into their past lives, whether they know it or not. So I really believe that everything you live this week is some sort of a symbolism to a past life narrative that you have been subscribed to about yourself. So it's a past life narrative about yourself. So if you, for instance, go get cheated on something that you try to invest your money in this week, it's not about the fact that you get cheated. It's about what you do whenever you get cheated to yourself. So you want to listen to how you treat yourself. Your relationship to yourself is the trunk timeline because reality is all this this simulation based on your consciousness, right? So when you change the way you respond to you, everything in your whole life updates automatically.
Right.
If you try to change something in your life without changing you, then one of the two is going to snap back, right, to where you were. So it's a holistic transformation. So this week, what we do is we investigate today boundary issues, tomorrow issues around self love, Wednesday issues around how we feel about ourselves, Thursday issues around what we believe about ourselves. And would you believe that when we hit the I believe, the Jupiter day, Venus and Mars conjoin at 6 degrees Aquarius, which basically means the universe like slaps us on the back and says, okay, that's it, done. So really all of life is step 0, 1, 2, 3. That's really all of life, actually. Those
So
steps
so
actually
that
are
means that
everything.
for me, I think I'm 24 degrees in Venus, so that means that I'm going to have bring mastery to all my relationships on that day.
Yes, on that day, but the next day you'll be the enemy again. So don't get too excited. No. Enjoy while you got it. Drink them while you got them. Smoke them while you got them. Yeah, exactly. No, but it does. Yeah, it'll be a harmonic day for sure. But six is the relationship to ourself, and Aquarius is our vibration. So you could say we are being tuned like an instrument by letting go of our past timelines. So you want to basically timeline shift where you draw the boundary today, where your heart is tomorrow, where your feelings are Wednesday, what you believe on Thursday, and then Friday is step four. So Friday is the official major trunk timeline change. So you change the timeline on Friday.
What I belong to. Yeah.
Yeah, what I belong with myself. So this is again with myself. So it's like, you know what? I don't belong blaming myself. You're going to come to a realization like that. I don't belong calling myself stupid. I don't belong seeing myself as a victim. I don't belong. That basic premise, that's the core premise of your entire incarnation, has been that you thought you belonged criticizing yourself, or you thought you belonged editing yourself or holding yourself back, and that position that you had, that you belonged doubting yourself, was based on a past life where you were told you were wrong. And so you incarnated feeling like you belong, being skeptical of yourself. So once we remove that false belonging, you then free the client to just bloom.
So
And I think it'll be blooming from that point forward.
yeah, so this is why this is why all the changes are going on. By the way, somebody says, Christopher, you look super bright, vibrant. Maybe it's me. I'm
Thank
feeling the
you.
same. It's because of being a step 18. All you 18s are getting together and patting yourselves. No, I've been.
Oh yeah, we need the 18 group next, man. We need. I want to be the
That's,
next
I mean,
group.
that's the whole point. The whole point is that, and what I like about, by the way, what I do like about it, doing it in the Circle app with the people on the body, is because now we get to bring the body into astrology, but we still have astrology in the body in two separate spots. But that's a place where they
Yeah,
can meet.
convergence. Oh, that's interesting. That's what the work. That's what's happening. We're piloting our convergence of our work, buddy.
Yes,
That's what's
I've been
really happening.
I've been
That's the
secretly
core of what this
planning it
is.
behind the scene for a long time.
Oh, really? It's been part of your diabolical plan?
It has been.
Well, I was just jumping on as being a good sport, but yeah, that's fine. 29 me, fine, motherfucker. I'm 18. I'm only about what's now.
Well, and what's really great, what's really
I'm the
great
star
is
batter. So if 29 says we gotta beat the Yankees, and I'll go in and hit a home run. I mean, that's fine.
so what I really like is like, so on Thursdays you're going to start astromechanics on our channel and start bringing people up and teaching the mechanics of astrology and how it impacts your life. So it's not me and
100%.
you, it's you and the audience. Our audience is going to be, this is why I believe it's really going to change. I mean, I'm a 29 and make everything about me. Sometimes I need to step out of the way.
Step to the side. Yeah, no, I'm excited. So astromechanics. Yeah, I'm super excited. I love that I'm a mechanic in the human garage now. I've been working to be a mechanic in the human garage for a long time
You
now.
know what? That's funny because now
I got
you
my
say it, I get it now because that was because we were like motion mechanics and you're the astro mechanic.
I'm the
Did you think that?
astromechanic. I'm like,
Did you know
yeah, I
that?
came up with that. Oh yeah, that was the point.
Oh,
Now I
you knew that
29
all
you.
along? You got me?
Yes, yes, I
I guess you're
have.
diabolical.
That's where we're just sort of like one-upping each other in the volleyball court. Yeah, that's the whole point. I want to have my own bay. You pull your spiritual vehicle into my bay, lift you up, and let's see what's going on. We look at the astromechanics in the human garage. Yeah, for sure.
Hey,
Yeah, that's the whole point.
you're touching my gallbladder with your Saturn, boy.
Yeah, yeah. Keep that for HR. Report that for HR. Is I hear?
No,
Yeah,
so
it'll be
Friday
fun.
is going to be a really what I belong to day, and where I change the inner relationship and timelines really shift. Then we're follow up with Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, so Saturday is like, well, I think Saturday and Sunday. So I really believe that you're going to have some sort of a profound shift on Friday. And I think it happens. I mean, you know what's interesting, guys, who's watching, we'll talk about this in astromechanics, is start watching the people in your life with the astrology. They're like little examples who don't follow astrology, who don't know. Okay. You'll see these things happening in the people around you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I give like a little help, but I believe that people are going to feel amazing on Friday. Well, one of two things. If you're ahead of the game, you're going to feel amazing. And then you're going to spend Saturday and Sunday going, is this real? Is this really real? Is this possible? Can I really be done with all my world problems I've ever had? Or people will manifest a breakdown. So 4 is breakdown, breakthrough. If people are in denial, they'll have a complete crisis on
Yeah.
Friday. Okay, so people might have a crisis. Those are the people who are reactive instead of proactive. Everyone on this chat are proactive people. They're getting ahead of their problems. But people who are waiting for life to hit them because they're on that major timeline trunk that they are a victim in a reality that they can't control, it will have to happen to them. They'll have to lose a job or get divorced or find out they lost money in the stock market. Something will jolt them and they'll have a breakdown. And then they'll see the light on Saturday and Sunday. So really we see the light on Saturday and Sunday. We either follow through and comprehend the significance of our discovery, or we follow through and comprehend that it's not what we once thought. And I do think a
I see.
small version will double down. You
I,
will have some Karens, if you will, double down.
there's some names that in society today that I'm just glad I don't have. One of them is Karen, thank goodness, and
Yeah.
for a number of reasons. And the other one is Alexa.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, no kidding. It's funny. Every time I say serious joy, Siri goes, "What? What do you mean?" Like,
Here goes. What do you mean joy? There's no joy here. I'm a damn computer.
yeah. Yeah, basically. So I'm constantly I had to turn off all the auto voice prompts for Siri because I say serious joy so often. Yeah, it's a problem.
Hey, by the
But
way,
yeah, so it's a profound weekend.
by the
Go ahead.
way, you can now change it to say, "Hey Bob" or "Hey
Oh,
whatever."
can
You
you
can change it.
really?
Yeah, I just figured that out the other day.
Oh, really?
So
Where is that? Is that somewhere in the settings? I know
yeah,
you
it's in the
have to
settings.
things.
Yeah,
So I could create
I'll,
like hey shithead or something if I
I'll
wanted to. Hey shithead.
yeah, that was
That's
the whole thing. You could do it to say something funny.
okay. That's awesome. I love that idea. You can they're also one step closer to cloning your voice so that it can be your voice talking to you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, they've been working
They've
on it all
started
along
that.
with the voice prints, with us playing the stupid little games where we show our face in different looks and aging and all that.
Yeah.
They're just getting ready to clone you. They got your DNA, so they're just getting all the different versions of you right now. Oh no, you went silent. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. Right when I said that, you get a call, you go silent. So whatever you said.
Oh, what was I saying? We were talking about cloning and well, I think there's a
Can't hear again. No, okay, okay. So look at two in a row. Let's just not say it.
okay. Yeah, all right. That's a good point actually. I was about to say something pretty profound. I'll save it.
Yeah, yeah. Save it for later, please.
It was agenda based. That might be something that's interesting. That might have been
Yeah.
too much. It was too
And
much of a
you know
reveal.
what? I've been getting that. Like when I had this issue with my father, I wanted to call him, and I went to call him, and then his hearing aid was working, and then all of a sudden the phone dropped, and then for no reason, then I went to call him back, phone dropped. I'm like, oh, the universe is giving me a clue right now, or I'm pushing a book off the shelf in Interstellar, going,
Mm.
yeah, do something different. So I get, by the way, I get that kind of stuff happen, yeah, multiple times a day.
That's interesting. I notice those things too. Like where it happens is I'll be giving a reading for a client. And I'll be like, and the secret of your
Mhm.
life is hello, like
Yeah, yeah,
like they
yes,
froze out
yes,
they
yes.
go. I'm like, I'm literally about to say something like that, and it's like, oh, they're like, what were you about to say? Never mind.
Yeah, 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 same thing,
I
same thing.
got a
And for
sign from
those of
the
you,
universe. Yeah.
Yeah, for
First,
those of you out there who've read with you, you probably had that once or twice, and yeah,
yeah.
it happens with me too. Same thing.
It's happened. It definitely happens. And I take it as a sign. I'm like, oh, okay, don't tell, like if something interrupted like that at that time, I don't believe anything is an accident in the simulation of what we call life. Nothing. There are no accidents. Everything had a pre story to it, an
Yeah.
energetic pre-story,
So
backstory. Yeah.
so this week, okay. So I've already what I did was after our talk yesterday, I really put that into force. So basically, I'm like on cue this week. I basically told my crew. I said, "You bump shoulders with somebody on the street, it's past life. You stub your toe, it's past life. If you spill and break a glass, it's past life." So right now, pay attention because it's important to pay attention to it because we're setting a foundation up. And that's what I said to everybody because I could see the examples for me were big and profound. So we're setting up the intentions for how we're going to roll through Friday and then Saturday and Sunday. And I do believe that now after our timeline discussion that today we're like going like this, little offshoots from the road, but we got some big ones coming, and those big ones, before I act on them, I'm going to fascial maneuver, take my calm down. I'm giving space between every reaction that feels charged right now, no matter even if it feels good.
The fascial maneuver is brilliant before you respond. You want to actually squeeze out the old timeline. I think that's really brilliant, and I do think it is all past life. And someone wrote that the ETs are running this world. No,
No,
the ETs are trying to manipulate how we run this world.
yeah, because
We
we
run
we
the
are the
world.
superpower. Human beings, we are the creation. There's nothing in the universe that's as powerful as us, but we have been dumbed down, and that layer is coming off.
And everyone needs to know it. You are the power. The whole reason why look, if they had the power, there wouldn't even be news. They would just put us under gunfire.
Yeah,
Like they
absolutely.
would just we would just be controlled physically.
Yeah,
The reason why that's not happening is because the narrative, they have to turn you into a nodal point of belief to manifest this reality. You have to believe it for it to be real. So
and the
it's something to
third dimension, it's Sagittarius. It's about belief, and what we collectively believe comes into it. And even if it's wrong, we go that direction. So if I choose against a collective belief, even if it's the right one, I still going to get gunfire or slack or feel resistance. That's the whole point. This is what we've been doing for years. But I legitimately, Chris, the wind is at my back, and I'm not saying that in a facetious
no.
way. I'm not tempting the universe. I can feel the support of the universe and the people right now every single day.
Your disclaimer about not tempting the universe is a past life trunk.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on.
I'm gonna call you on it. You were trying to prevent the past from happening again by saying that. So I think this is a time where we catch ourselves in those moments where we are um, that when you say I'm not trying to do this. Anytime a
Yeah, I
person
got
does
it.
that,
I got
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I
I
got
know.
it. I
I'm
just did
actually
a
doing it
faster maneuver.
for the viewers. I'm just doing it for the viewers. I know you get it. Like, but for the viewers, when you say if anyone starts to, if you are saying disclaimers this week, you're not in the new timeline. You're still in the old. So
That's awesome.
if you're
Disclaimers, old timeline. Yeah.
you
Change
are
your
doing
timeline.
disclaimers.
Do a faster
Yes,
maneuver. Change your timeline. Do a faster maneuver. That's what
that's a
it's gonna
good one.
be
That's a
all
that's a
week.
good meme. That's a good meme.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna do that all. I'm gonna put that up in the story. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say, learn about this, and then point to this because this will be up on YouTube here shortly as well as on our walls.
Okay, and I will be on the Human Garage TV network on Thursday, Astromechanics at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m.
I'm
Eastern.
so
Correct?
excited to be a participant. I would be a participant. Yeah, it's great. Chris, I'm super excited for this because I just believe that I know I made a decision today. I'm getting out of the way of my own audience right now. As of April, I'm no longer doing, I have other people come up, but I'm no longer going to do these lives. I'm going to go to the next phase and create the space for the audience to grow. And that's the exciting part. I'm very, very clear about it. Thank you for
Yeah,
everything
that's
you've
great.
done for me,
Oh,
Chris.
you're welcome, brother. You know I love you,
I
dude.
love you too.
So it's my pleasure. Yeah. So what are you going to be? You're going to be token spokesperson?
No, 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 no. I'm going to go to the next side, which is I'm going to start talking about what happened. Because right now, every time I get up, it's like, how do I fix this? How do I fix that? How do I fix this? It's like
Ah,
I'm done with fixing people. Like if you have everything you need to fix yourself is already there, and we have coaches and practitioners. You're coming to me to ask how to get rid of your autoimmune disease. We have thousands of people getting rid of it, willing to help you. I'm not the person
right.
to help you. So now it's like, okay, here's how I came up with fascial maneuvers that's been healing, millions of people. Here's how I did it, and I want to share that journey because now I want people to take this work and multiply it. I want them to take and move it on to something new. After
That's a
Mondays,
good.
we're still going to have, guys. I'm going to do this till April. We're still going to do all of the lives till April. And we have people that have been coming up. And I'm moving. If you want to talk to me, I'm going to be in this new program for 12 months. And you can join that program. But the conversation is you can't ask me about fixing a back, a neck, a shoulder, an autoimmune disease. It's only about moving forward, how it is, what our reality is, how we got here, how this works and how to move forward. I just no more going because I will stay in the past if we keep talking about the problem.
I agree. I see that too. Actually, I think I'm moving to the same place in my career, which is I've been fascial maneuvering, astromechanicking individuals, and now it's time to astromechanic society.
Yeah,
Now it's
and
time to
I agree.
now work. Individuals done. Now we move to life on Earth
Yeah,
and the power sources of life on Earth.
yeah.
Yeah, great.
We're going that way. We're going that way. We got people approaching us from countries like we really like. We have the country of Kuwait saying, "Hey, can you come and help us?"
Whoa.
Like so. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like, that's happening right now today, and then we're leaving this big footprint. And of course, I can't go anywhere without my buddy Chris.
All right, I'll be there, buddy. Yeah, looking good.
Hey,
It'll be
buddy.
fun. Actually, and
Hey,
we'll talk about it later. We can talk forever. So we'll see everyone. Someone asked, it's free. It's on this channel on Thursday.
yeah.
It's on a separate channel. It's right here on IG, Instagram. All right, brother.
Okay.
We'll talk to you soon. Okay,
Take care.
ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah. If you haven't done it yet, go to our events page and sign up for events. We have events in New York. We have New York events happening tonight in a couple hours. If you're not there, if you're in New York, go to the event. Go, go, go. And go to our events page and you can check out all the different events, including the live TV. You'll be able to see Chris is coming up and he's going to be working with people one-on-one. So like calling people up out of the audience, talking to them, helping them in different situations. And guys, get ready for what's coming in April. We'll be announcing it, but this is open to anybody and everybody who wants to move forward in their life. This doesn't require that you've been a lifestyle artist. Doesn't require, because there's a lot of people that I work with who are doctors, practitioners, leaders of organizations and they're already doing this stuff, but they don't have time. They're not going to go through the lifestyle artist program and stuff like that just to get my time. So I'm going to put this book out to everybody and I'm going to let you guys co-create it with me. So living fascially. Only shift fascially. Okay, guys, take time.